August 5th, 1967. Surveyors storm waist-deep through a sea of purple flowers. The Kirkstall Road, Leeds. Once this was a patch of wasteland, half a mile from the city centre. Now there is to be a giant television studio. August 12th. A web of steel grows round the first pile, driven the same day the building licence was issued in London. The cost, £1.8 million for the building. For the equipment, £2.2 million. The entire staff of Yorkshire Television at this time, 15. Five great colour studios, the most modern colour television centre in Europe. A skeleton like the rib cage of a prehistoric animal. November 30th, 1967. Lord Ayleston, chairman of the ITA, comes to lay the foundation stone. The first important visitors from what must become a migrant flood. They admit to being impressed by the headlong progress. In 8 months from now, the first studio will put out its first program. October 18th. The architects have made 519 drawings to guide the 200 construction workers. A computer slots the priorities of work, but nothing can pre-calculate the weather. One snowfall, and they will be knee-deep in mud laced with icicles. The weather holds. The bricklayers have 655,000 bricks to lay, 35,000 blocks. In the headlong rush to completion, the lifeline of the supply contractors becomes more and more stretched. Unable to pause after one stage before starting the next, men sometimes work on 3 operations in the same area at the same moment. A slip from one supplier or one craftsman and the whole intricate jigsaw could not come together on time. Number of staff at Yorkshire Television, now 54. The inside men move in. On strange stalks are laid the tiles where the technicians will tread. Underneath will be the electronic tendrils of the studio, a vast web, 65 miles of cables in the first 3 studios alone. Giant coolers suck away the fierce heat burned out by the colour lights. This unique plant could produce 690 tons of ice an hour, enough to make a daily iceberg in the heart of Leeds. Incredibly, the weather still holds. Only 20 working days are lost throughout the Leeds winter.
While the studios were rising, Yorkshire Television started assembling their people and programmes next door in a one-time trouser factory.
Yorkshire Television, good afternoon. Yes, who is it calling, please? Recorder. Yorkshire Television, good afternoon.
Television isn't just buildings, however sophisticated and perfect they might be. Television's about people and their ideas. And so the trouser factory starts dealing in ideas. To this place come the rumours, the reflections and the distant rumblings of the surrounding area. Here they're processed into programmes. At its best, television will reflect the hopes and aspirations, the gossip and the obsession of the people around it. All this will be sifted and processed and returned to the sender, and the dialogue which television must have with its audience will have begun.
Take, or say, a 3-piece band and singer, how long would it take to get all that?
So you've got to set up mics, you've got to set up piano mics, bass mic, drum mics, and they've got to be struck away. So you've got to set up and write that, then rehearse it, then record it, then do a lineup.
Well, there's a bloke, Norman Shuttleworth, who's the managing director of Kepler's. I don't know, have you come across him at all?
All manner of programmes will come from here, all of them born the same way from single ideas, all of them leaving a mark or an ulcer on the people who've created them. Much of it, I've no doubt, will be designed to make the audience think, and some will have all the sweet impermanence of candy floss. It's television's job to manufacture both, but never one at the expense of the other. Some television stations are like parking lots, mainly letting space for programmes made by others. But Yorkshire Station will be a major production centre of comedy series, film adventure series, plays and children's programmes. Many more major series, for instance, will come from here than from any city or station in the United States outside of Los Angeles or New York. And they will be programmes that will be seen not only all over Britain, but in many other countries throughout the world.
July 1st, 1968. Astoundingly, Studios 1 and 2 are all but ready. Equipment from all over the world must be linked to the major British installation. Colour cameras, 24,000 pounds each, wait blindly for their testing. Staff at Yorkshire Television risen to 320. To equip this electronic wonderland, engineers and electricians have worked night and day, 7 days a week. To set this working from the mud up will take the major part of the output of a factory. The paths of 1 million wires are checked and counter-checked. Within 30 days, these tendrils will carry the electronic lifeblood of live television. Yorkshire will be on the air.
The steel mast at Emley-Moor near Huddersfield transmitted ITV as far as Teesside and Lincolnshire. But it was to serve Yorkshire Television for less than a year, because on March the 19th, 1969, the 1,200-foot high tower collapsed. It was the Duchess of Kent who came to Leeds to officially open the studios in July 1968. Her Royal Highness pulled one of the biggest faders in broadcasting history to bring the familiar YTV logo to our screens for the very first time. How many of these versions of our symbol can you remember? Aren't they great? And the worrying thing is that apart from the first one, I remember all the others. Well, in 1968, I was just 7 years old. And the frightening thing is that picture's in black and white, so you can all work out my age now. However, on to more important things. These are the listings for YTV's first day on the air. Programmes included cricket from Headingley with summaries by Sir Leonard Hutton. And at 6:35, the first ever calendar introduced by Jonathan Aitken. Well, sadly, that's a programme which was never kept. But after the break, we've 2 more shows from 1968, which were. On one of his earliest YTV missions, Alan Wicker ventures into deepest Halifax to meet Percy Shaw, inventor of cat's eyes. And a fascinating look at the design and construction of one of Britain's busiest motorways, the M62. So don't go away.